service?
Yes, they give you a bonus when you re-enlisted.
Okay.
6 years was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You enlisted for 6 years, that's your life, so they gave you a good bonus for that.
Okay. Huh.
So after you were in Rochester, and you re-enlisted after Kodak, where did they send you? Let's see, Youngstown, Ohio. Lived there sometime when I was a kid, before I went to Cleveland. Might have been
Youngstown. It was just a brief time, I think.
Was it there?
Not Youngstown. No, I didn't live in Youngstown. No. No.
They didn't send you back to Sackett's Harbor, I don't think. I don't think you lived there again after I was born.
No, Sackett's was one time.
Just one time, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't have sent you to Cleveland right away, because that was later on. I was like, I was maybe 5 years old when we moved to Cleveland the first time, maybe 4, but, well, it could have been then, come to think of it, because if I was born in Sackett's Harbor and I was 1, and you lived in Rochester for a couple of years, I would have been 3, it might have sent you to Cleveland.
Yes, I was Cleveland,
Yeah, that might have been the first place you went.
I had a recruiting job.
That's right. That's right. You were in the recruiting office in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And because that's when I went to kindergarten, and that's when I started to know. I started to have memory. Well, no, wait a minute. You were at 30 Mile Point.
30 Mile Point.
You were at 30 Mile Point Light Station. Was that was that after Sackett's and before Rochester, or was it after Rochester? Must have been before.
No, before.
It was before. Because I was maybe 2 years old when I lived there.
Yeah. We got transferred from Sackett's Harbor directly to 30 Mile Point.
And then I think you must have moved to Rochester, and that's when Mike and Meg were born.
That's exactly.
And then we moved to Cleveland.
That's exactly. You got it.
And then moved to Cleveland for the first time, and then I promptly entered kindergarten and refused to go in the classroom. Yeah. Unless my mother went with me. And then they told me she was going to wait for me outside every day, and I fell for it.
When you were in Cape May, New Jersey, your record was best student in English, best student in mathematics, best student in history, best all-around student.
Yeah.
That was your record.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah. Okay, well, enough about me. So we were in Cleveland then for a couple of years, and then, see, now I can pick up the scent, because I'm old enough to remember at that point, all right? So then we moved, I think, to Milwaukee. I think so, from Cleveland to Milwaukee. Yeah. And we lived in Cudahy, because we could afford to live in Cudahy.
You remember the ferries?
I do, and I remember the, and you were on the Raritan. You were posted to the tugboat Raritan, the icebreaker.
Yeah.
And we were I was in elementary school there a little bit, and then you got transferred back to Cleveland. You did. You got transferred back to Cleveland. I don't know, there was some kind of... so we went back to Cleveland.
Well, don't forget the leadership thing. I went to the first leadership school Coast Guard had.
Right.
Very cool.
And I did graduate first in my class for that.
That's good.
I remember that. I was always proud of that. Well, that's bragging. Didn't mean to do that. But went to California for the leadership school.
Did you?
Yeah. San Francisco.
Anyway, back to Cleveland, and you were in the recruiting office again. I think you ran the recruiting office that time. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember going down to your office.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I remember this Marine Corps guy says, "Gail, give me all your rejects." He says, "We'll ship them out." And he was there. He was not kidding about it. They were rejects on it.
That's funny.
and we lived on, this was in Euclid, which was a lot like Cudahy.
Yeah.
And we lived on Pasnow,
Pasnow,
P-A-S-N-O-W
Pasnow
Avenue, and we
screened in porch.
we did, and we had a famous neighbor who was Ross Feetner, who played safety for the Cleveland Browns.
That is exactly right.
Right.
Ross Feetner, yeah.
Yeah, and we'd go out and he'd toss a football around with the kids once in a while.
Ross Feetner. That's right.
And that's what I remember about. That's what I remember. That and learning how to swim is what I remember when I was in Cleveland.
You were
and the Beatles. I remember the Beatles. Because it was 1966, 7, something like that.
You also swam
when
down at Cape May.
Yeah.
You saved this big boat, and you had to tow him over to the side of the pool. I can't remember his name.
But then we went. Yeah, we went from Euclid to. First we went to Marquette.
Right.
We went to Marquette, Michigan. From there.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, we went to Marquette, and was that the right order though? Was it? I think it was.
Probably close to.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Marquette, and no, we were in Cape May. We were in Cape May, and then went to Marquette. That's what it was.
May, yeah.
We went from Cleveland to Cape May, and had a nice little house down there. I remember that, and by this time, let's see, there were at least 6 of us. Was Tommy born yet? Let me think. Tommy is 12 years younger than me, so probably not. He was born in Cape May.
Tom was born in New.
Yeah, he was born in Cape May. He was. I think he was.
It wasn't Cape May though. It was North Cape. But it was in New Jersey. Yeah, he was.
Right.
I'm trying.
So that's when he was. So that was the 7th child. Maureen was the 6th, and she was born in Milwaukee.
She was born in.
She was born in Milwaukee.
She was a Badger. Yeah.
She was born in St. Francis Hospital.
Yes,
St. Francis Hospital in Cudahy, Wisconsin.
Exactly.
I only know that because I drive by there once in a while when
Yeah.
I'm going to Milwaukee, and I recognize it.
Yeah.
I can't figure out which house we used to live in. I got it narrowed down to 2 or 3. But
that's interesting.
But I do
They
know
were all too small for us too. Everything was.
they were.
But it worked.
Or we were too big for them, one or the other.
Yeah. We had bunk beds.
Yeah. And
Your mother she had an operation, or she had the flu or something, and we got transferred. I used the car ferry going from Milwaukee over to Muskegon, I guess it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And we rented I'm trying to think, there are 3 places there. Muskegon.
That's recording, right?
Grand Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Sound too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's awful hard pulling those places back up. It's interesting how they skip your mind after a while. You have to dig around to pull them out.
Yeah, and then so we're down in Cape May, and we only stayed there a year though. Stayed there a year.
Yeah.
It was. I think I graduated from the 8th, or
You knew
7th or 8th grade, something there. And then,
you knew the guy that married the famous lady, Oprah Winfrey.
oh yeah, that's true. Stedman Graham.
Stedman.
Yeah, he was
a drum major.
Yeah, you remember that. Yeah, he was in. See, I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and he was in the 12th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a star basketball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about Stedman Graham.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was a drum major in the marching band, and I think I played the snare drum. So I think I got something really.
Did Dan play drums a little bit too one time? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember it because I was not around much when he was growing up. I was off at school mostly. But so we lived there just a year, but that was, I remember it being a lot of fun because it was right on the ocean. Well, it's close enough to the ocean. We go to the ocean. We go down to the, I'll call it the bay. It wasn't a bay. We go down to the marshlands and catch crabs and bring them home.
Yeah.
We catch crabs and bring them home and cook them
I
up.
have sweets. I don't have any
Well, that's
sweet
fine.
rolls or anything.
Oh, no,
Well,
thank you.
that's we're fine.
She could
Pie's
probably
not
pretty
really
good.
it either.
No, we're
I don't have
fine.
anything breakfasty sweet. But
No, Harriet, we're fine. Thank you.
The tea is awesome, thank you.
Then from there we moved to Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah.
I remember that, and that was a huge change, going from pretty warm climate of actually below the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
Cape May is just below the Mason-Dixon line
Fig Newtons are
to
kind of breakfasty.
far northern Michigan,
Thank you.
where you ran that lifeboat station.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you through with this?
Mm-hmm.
Finished?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
What was that like? I think the hardest part of that job for you is probably pulling drowning victims out of the water.
But we
I
didn't
know you
get
had to
that-
do that with some
We
regularity.
didn't get that with, well, actually, not too many,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3
Mm-hmm. That's good.
the whole time I was there.
That's good. But I remember it was like,
They
no,
find hypothermia?
it was like, don't go down to the boathouse, Patrick. There's a drowning victim. You don't
Yeah.
want to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every once in a while, some co-ed from northern Michigan would go swimming with no clothes on off to the rocks and
Yeah.
and have to be rescued. Remember that? Unfortunately, I was not
that
in the
area,
service myself. I could have
That
done it.
area of Lake Superior
Yes.
is known for, through the generations, the rock stratas shifted and so forth.
Mhm.
So it was an object of archaeological study.
Mm-hmm.
And this professor came in with about
Mm-hmm.
30 students one time. And he was the one I worried about the most. He went crazy when counting those rocks. Anyhow.
Do you remember getting into a dispute about use of the beaches? Because the students wanted to use the beaches and you said, no way, this is government property, you can't do that.
Well, I probably went a little too wild on that because
You didn't shoot anybody, did you?
no, what I mean is, what I mean is, I probably wasted some money, government money, but they supported me. I put a fence all the way around the property. I was going to keep everybody out, but that was sort of dumb. You couldn't do that because that was too much history.
Can you swallow your food, Dad? Can you swallow it? You're chewing and chewing and chewing, but can you swallow it?
I have all new teeth.
I know that, I know that.
Yeah.
But you can swallow it, right?
Yes, I can.
Swallow away. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can you take those pills, Gail?
I'm going to take them here.
Okay, take them.
I'm gonna go grab my camera real quick.
So there was that. Do you remember Dr. Wright?
I sure do.
Yeah.
I had the most interesting conversation with him.
You mean a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not recently, yeah.
Oh, heavens no.
You know, he was the first doctor of internal medicine in the entire Upper Peninsula.
Exactly. Well, what I was going to say, that's how I met him. He was
That's what it
leaning
goes.
against between quarters B and R where we stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking along the road that morning, and here stands this guy, and he smiled, and we spoke, and I introduced myself, and he says, and I am Dr. White. And I says, well, I said, he says, I'm just supplement his name, and like, I says, and what do you do, sir? He says, I'm a doctor of internal medicine. And, and it was he that advised me to run.
Yeah, he started you running, didn't he?
He started.
This would have been in the early 60s.
That's right.
This is when President Kennedy was in office, and he was encouraging people to become more fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
And you started jogging before it was cool.
Yeah.
You and Dr. Wright would go jogging
Mm-hmm.
several miles at a time, as I recall. And I remember you'd go duck hunting with him too.
I killed a wood duck. which was right.
Yeah, the rare.
And it was almost dark when I shot
Yeah.
the duck. And he says, "Did I have the duck?" I said, "No."
Yeah.
And he had it framed. He had it.
Yeah.
And I remember his wife too.
Yeah, she's a nice lady. I saw him about 10 years ago.
They had a cottage somehow.
Mm-hmm.
How much
His oldest son is a doctor, is a physician in West Virginia. Isn't that amazing?
Is that right?
Yeah. The kids all went off to, he had 4 or 5 children, all of whom became physicians except for my friend who was a professor of Mesoamerican studies in Mexico. He's married to a Mexican woman. And he's my age, but the others are all physicians, and they're all living in remote locations, about as remote as Marquette.
Yeah.
West Virginia might be more remote than Marquette. Yeah.
There's a place up there called, the name is Christmas.
Yes, Christmas, Michigan. Mm-hmm.
You know Steve Harvey, the host of Family Feud, black guy, wrote this book, what was the book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. I bought it at a discount, but I haven't read it. I buy books for $1. But anyway, he's moving to Chicago, or already there. Steve Harvey's show is on in the afternoon, somewhere near that Oprah slot. And started a big ranch, I heard, in Texas to help young boys who have no fathers at home. But the reason I thought of him, he's from West Virginia, born in Welch, West Virginia. Yeah. Never heard of that place.
Hey, Harriet, I've forgotten where you were born. What town?
Statesboro, Georgia.
That's right. I knew it was Georgia. I just couldn't remember which town.
Georgia Southern College.
Yeah, I know.
Southern College.
I know.
It's now Georgia Southern University.
Is that below the gnat line, Harriet? I think it is. There's Daugherty County, which is below the gnat line. There is.
Yeah, it's such a Daugherty County.
Yeah.
Did you know that I think I may have mentioned this one time. I took a course in Cobb County history one time, just because you have to take stuff when you're a teacher. And I discovered that the original settlers, the 5 or 6 families, who were 10 or 12 families, who were the original settlers of Cobb County, Georgia, where we're sitting, one of them was a Daugherty family.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I took this course, spelled the same way. There are many ways to spell your name, as you know.
Even more to pronounce it.
It's undoubtedly our family. You just don't know where they fit in exactly, because our family, came in.
Odoatrtydoughty.
Well, no, the ones with our name came in to Baltimore right about 1800, moved to Harrisonburg, Virginia. And then moved west over the mountains into West Virginia, one generation later, just before the war. Just before the war.
1862, West Virginia became the site.
Right. It was before the war they moved, but it was like in the 1850s. But there were lots of descendants, and so they would keep moving west and south. And
this is kind of a bad topic, but we forgot to mention it before. It's not about your siblings, Pat, so don't worry. Kay?
yeah.
What do you know about her, really? She tried to hit Gail up for some money.
No, that's not good.
No.
Yeah.
He got real sentimental.
Yeah.
And I sort of suggested that he write her something at Christmas after her mother died.
Yeah.
And he did, and it was one of the most beautiful little paragraphs Gail has ever written about how his sister had loved him dearly all her life. And she has. She's been really, good at
Kay is Wilda's daughter, right?
Yeah, well,
right.
She wrote after Gail was sentimental in this note. About 2 weeks later, she wrote and said she had $2,000 worth of extra expenses, even though her mother had paid for the funeral, prepaid her funeral, as if Gail was going to send her help in this, like she just asking for it, anything. It looked to me like she knows she's never going to hear from Gail again, so why not try to get some? And it was really disappointing. I thought she was a nice person, or, I mean, I don't know her, I've never met her, but this, trying to weasel money out of somebody is not mine. I just wondered if you had any knowledge of her doing that.
No, that's all news to me. And I hear from her daughter once in a while. She has a daughter who lives in Columbus, which I think is where she is. And
she's an attorney, isn't she? Or was
yeah, she's admitted to the bar. She's trying to get a job in Chicago.
Also, Jerry.
She is a lawyer.
Younger
sorts.
brother also has an attorney
I see.
in the family.
Well, Khaki Daugherty here is the first MBA in the family. Yeah. She is.
Well, let's replenish our tea and I'll pour the new water, fellas. MBAs and other types, yeah.
This is all good.
Okay, pick a new
I'm fine, really. I'm just sipping on this. To tell you the truth, I'll take the existing one. You can fill me up.
Yep, exactly. Okay, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
And she's now getting another degree from Northwestern, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What would be that degree?
It's called predictive analytics.
Oh.
It's about using statistics and computers to forecast, make predictions on the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah. Statistics wasn't my favorite thing. You can take care of that, but I like other math, but not so much statistics. But that's in your business line.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
oh, that's you didn't want it, did you? I'm sorry.
Oh, let me put this down so
Put
we
a
don't.
new thing if you.
Oh no, it's quite strong, so this will actually be excellent. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's
Thank you.
good though. Gail likes peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
Well, they are delicious. You have to have a vice of some sort.
Yeah, sure.
There's worse vices to have.
They gave him some peanut butter in the hospital on some cookie he liked. I bought some peanut butter, but it's kind of a dangerous thing. But maybe it does won't hurt.
When you get around to eating the Frango mints, you'll love those.
Yes, they're similar.
For a little while.
Yeah.
They're delicious. One of my favorite things about Chicago. They'll melt in his mouth just like the peanut butter.
You want it open, Gail? Oh, okay. Are you happy with your others today?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So I'm getting back into this chronology. So we lived in Marquette, and it was
He's a history person.
it was a couple of years there, and I know we lived there in 1968. I'm certain of it because what I remember about that is the summer of '68 having cookouts because you would go fishing and other folks in the Coast Guard base would go fishing and bring back salmon and bring back lake trout. We had cookouts, but the reason I knew it was '68 is because I remember hearing about reports of the riots in Cleveland and in Detroit.
That's right.
And I remember it was like, well, isn't it good to be up here and not there?
Yeah.
While that was going on.
See,
and that was the summer of '68.
Yeah, Martin Luther King was killed.
Yeah, and we were living in Marquette.
We were in Marquette.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You know who else I remember meeting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember meeting Mrs. Romney, who was Mitt Romney's mother.
Yeah.
Because she was the First Lady of Michigan at the time.
Yeah.
And she came by and was staying with the Wrights, with Dr. Wright and his wife, and staying at their house. And
that would be Mitt's father's.
That was Mitt's mother. It'd be Mitt's mother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I remember meeting her, and because she was introduced to me as the First Lady of Michigan.
Yeah, and Mitt's father had that small car thing. Remember too?
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yes.
Look how
American
cute.
Motors or something.
I like this. It's
Uh-huh.
very cute.
Well,
Mitt Romney's mother and Mitt Romney were pictured in Time back when he was running. Some article about her being interested in politics but never won or something like that.
That's right.
Okay. I might have to break down and have one.
Let's try it.
Enjoy.
Delicious.
I've been on a binge of food that's bad for me. You know, when you're upset or something, you go. I don't know if you do
It's
that.
Easter. You got candy.
Yeah, it's comfort food, I think they call
There
it.
you go. There you go.
Should I go to the basement and look for one old album? I didn't want to bring up
Yeah.
old past
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
no, that's good.
So I don't
That's
know.
fine. That's
I
fine.
would appreciate it if it's okay.
Okay.
That'd be fine.
You know, I haven't even scouted it, but I think I know where you and Libby are. You know that you were here once before. You know, a long time.
Okay.
Okay, just keep this going, and I'll take my time and look for it. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Trying to figure what I should bring up.
You know, and there's also the photos you just sent. Actually, Kat,
Yeah.
we could go through those, and you could tell
Yeah.
Grandpa what they are and Harriet what they are.
I think we figured it out, except
Gotcha.
one. Except one. I'll bring them down in a minute, but except one
Yeah.
or two of them we figured it out.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna.
What do you remember about Marquette, Dad?
Cold for one thing. Very cold.
Yeah.
I have. Oh yeah. This is an interesting sidelight. I had a native American Samoa. His name was
Yes.
Fidi Oswego.
Right.
Fidi, and he.
And
said
he was
to
a
me-
Samoan, right?
He was a Samoan, and he could climb the flagpole.
Yeah.
He'd take off his shoes and climb to the top of the flagpole. Just
With his hands and feet.
agility and strength.
Uh-huh.
And there was no one in Marquette. Remember, I was good friends with the chief of Marquette.
Yeah, the chief of police, right.
And he says, Gagel, he says, when we have to arrest Oswego, he says, you've got to take 2 or 3 cops along. He says,
When they have to arrest him?
yeah.
Was he getting in trouble in town and all?
Yeah, he was nice looking, he had sharp, white, beautiful white teeth and so forth. And all the women loved him, and he was a charmer. Anyhow, but he was very quickly would come to fisticuffs.
I see.
So, but anyhow, what was it? Oh, he said to me, Chief, he said, don't you worry about reveille. I hold reveille, I get everybody up. And I never had to doubt that, but
no
you
doubt.
come out of the sack or else.
His feety,
Yeah.
Oswego was going to whack you.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Then we had this guy in quarters B. I sort of lost track of him, but he had a child that had some sort of expanded brain and died.
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
early.
I remember that.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
He was in the hospital for a long time.
Yeah.
They were Texans.
That's right.
They were Texans,
Yeah.
and Rose was their name.
Bobby D.
Bobby D. Rose.
Yeah.
And he'd say things like, I'm from Texas, and some people think I talk slow, but I don't talk slow, do I?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember Bobby D. Rose.
Of course, he has a middle initial that you know.
Of course.
Because he's from Texas.
Of course. And, their son was, he was unconscious for longer than a year, as I recall.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
the hospital. He finally died.
I think his wife's name was Ann.
Ann Rose, that's right.
Yeah.
Ann Rose and Bobby D. Rose. I remember them. They were sweet people.
Essentially, Marquette there were 2 harbors, upper and lower, and then we had a offshore light, and of course the lighthouse, and Big Bay was where. You remember a long time ago there was a story.
Yeah.
There's a movie made up. The Anatomy of a Murder.
Oh yeah, no, I've been there, Dad. I know the Big Bay Inn, and I know
Yeah, okay.
Thunder Bay Inn.
Well,
they call it the movie, but-
okay. Where I was sitting, I was sitting,
Yeah.
which brings up another family. Excuse me. Trying to think. Boots Cuckoo.
Yeah, I don't remember him,
Cuckoo.
but
Boots Cuckoo, he was quite a famous hockey player.
okay, all right.
And
There's a lot of hockey in the UP of Michigan. That's for sure. That's for sure true.
He was quite.
Yeah.
They called him Boots because that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let me think about that. I'm sure that I knew he and his wife's name was Grace, and I remember. Do you remember the Coast Guard Auxiliary? I started.
I don't, but I believe.
Well, anyhow,
sure.
I started.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that area, I started the Coast Guard Auxiliary. At least they formed it.
Sure.
And I helped teach. I taught some of the classes for the auxiliary.
Safe sailing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we went. Well, you became friends with the fellow who owned the lighthouse in.
Benjamin Peck.
Yeah,
Pick.
Dr. Peck.
Dr. Pick.
Yeah,
Dr.
Pick, P-I-C-K.
P-I-C-K.
You know, and that lighthouse today, because I've been there, Dad.
Yeah.
That lighthouse is a
gotta
bed and
be a
breakfast.
memorial.
It's a bed and breakfast. No,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Picks sold it to somebody else who you can now stay there. You know, you can stay there. And I didn't stay there, but it's one of the more famous lighthouses in the Upper
it
Peninsula.
sure is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's just about 5 or 10 miles from where Anatomy of the Murder was filmed.
Yeah.
And
that was an interesting story. Did you ever see?
there's the
movie
Huron Bay
Anatomy
Club, huh?
Did you ever see the movie Anatomy of a Murder?
Sure, Dad. Sure.
that's
Yeah. Part of that was filmed in Marquette too, the Marquette
Yes,
courthouse.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the most famous thing that's ever happened in Marquette.
Yeah.
It might be actually. But there was that, and the novel written by a Michigan Supreme Court justice. His pen name was Spencer Traver. That was his pen name.
That's right.
Yeah, he made enough money from selling the book that he just retired from the bench and lived the rest of his life in a cottage in Michigan, fly fishing all the time. That's all he did. Yeah. Not a bad way to live, I guess.
You like fly fishing?
If you like fly fishing, it figures a lot in the movie. Actually, fly fishing is part of the movie.
Okay.
Part of the book, but yeah. So and then from there, let's see, where do we go from there? From Marquette, we moved to. Do we go back to Milwaukee? Yeah, we went back to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We went back to Milwaukee and moved to a different part of Cudahy.
Yeah.
We moved from southern Cudahy to northern Cudahy.
You're right.
And then I was in junior high, so that's how I remember it. I was in the 7th and 8th, or maybe it was the 8th and 9th grades. Yeah. Right.
And the neighbor next to us, they had a high wire fence that separated the two properties. Yeah.
I know that house. I've been by it. I've taken pictures of it.
Yeah.
That one's easy to find. The one in South Cudahy I can't figure out, but the one in Northern Cudahy I know exactly where that house is. I've driven down that road in the last couple of years. And
you have a deep regard for history. I
don't know. I
don't
know.
Yes, has a certain regard. It's part of one of his many subjects. Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to track down where we all went together. So we went and lived there for a couple of years, and then moved. This was interesting. Then we moved to Michigan, and I remember actually making the move on I'm trying to remember the name of that boat. It was the Clipper, I think. Was it called the Clipper?
Milwaukee Clipper.
The Milwaukee Clipper.
Well, the Milwaukee Clipper was the white one, but I think you're thinking about the Badger or the.
No, it was not the Badger that we took. I think it was the Clipper. It was the last. It was the last season. It was
Yes,
the very
yeah.
last season it sailed
That's
there.
right, on the Milwaukee Clipper. It was a white, but remember.
Yeah, it was the very, and we actually moved. We actually loaded our stuff
Yeah.
up on that boat,
Yeah.
and we got on the boat, and that's how we moved from
Yeah.
Wisconsin to
You're right.
Michigan. It was on the Clipper, and then the Clipper was decommissioned,
Yes, I remember that.
and today it's docked in Muskegon.
They still.
Yeah, it's
Oh, they
docked in
have it
Muskegon.
in Muskegon, dog.
Yeah,
Anything,
but that's how we moved there.
how about the Mackinac, the big Mackinac?
That I don't know where that is. I see it. I have seen it in Chicago at Navy Pier. I mean, the Mackinac was used to make Christmas tree runs from northern Michigan to Chicago.
Well, there was a Christmas trees, yeah.
Right. That was, and they used the Mackinac for that. Ultimately, they loaded up.
Harriet,
Coming.
Yeah, but so that's when we moved to Michigan, and that would have been in 70 or 71.
yeah.
Well, how are you today?
That's the little.
It would have been in the fall of 1970.
That's the
Easter
little
is tomorrow. Do
Turkish
you have a
girl,
basket?
American. Remember the American family?
Right,
This is-
Harriet's
Easter
friends,
basket.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do. And some eggs.
That would have been in the fall of 1970.
A whole bunch. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
how,
right. Well,
Well, Gail is better. He's visiting with his son and his granddaughter. They are at the kitchen table. You remember the big man who came to visit 2 years ago
That's me,
at
I
your
guess.
house?
Yeah.
The big dog.
That's Gail's son, and he has brought his daughter to see Gail. Yes, it's very nice. And
Is he the tallest of all your
when
children?
can you come
Or is
to
Mike
see
taller?
Gail?
I think I'm a
Maybe
little bit
next week?
taller.
Next Saturday, next
I'm
Sunday,
tallest.
maybe?
Dan might have been a little
Oh,
bit
good,
taller than me.
good,
might have been.
good.
Might have been a little bit taller than me.
Yeah, Dan was quite tall.
You
I remember,
are.
tiny. Mike was around
At
for a
your
long
school?
time, and he suddenly
When is
grew up a
this?
little. Yeah.
So yeah, and that
it's
was
today.
and thereupon you stayed
Okay. Well, you have a
in
nice time.
in
Is
Michigan
FA
for a
going
long
also?
time,
Yes.
at least 10 years.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, from 70 to at least 1980.
Yeah.
When did you get out of the Coast
How is
Guard?
your
When did you
mom?
retire? What year? Do you remember?
1980.
So it was exactly 10 years
Yeah.
or 11 years. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
it
who's
was exactly 10 years, and I was off in law school then,
Yes.
and then you were
Where is
out,
your
and then you
school?
went to work in South Carolina,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how can I get
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
and so
In that area.
yeah. But those were 10 years in Michigan, which is the longest by far we'd lived in.
Where is it? Like, tell me how to go, and maybe we'll.
So it's really
go.
different for my younger brothers and sisters than it was for me, because the younger ones in particularly basically grew up in Michigan in one
Yeah.
place, and I did not. I lived everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's
lived
right.
in.
That's
lived
true.
in-
That's very true. Yeah.
That explains, yeah.
I think you were,
Kennesaw Charter
I think you
School
were
It's like
born
my-
in.
Cobb
my
I think
friend
you
Mark-
were born in the Mercy Hospital in Watertown, New York. I think it was
What's it called? Mercy Hospital? Yeah.
Mercy, I think. It was.
Yeah. I know it was Watertown,
Okay,
that's for sure.
is it?
It's on my passport.
Let's see.
So
I
I
know
know.
it's Watertown.
You know, when you go,
And
let's see.
Yeah.
Is it high like the mall up there, or not before the mall, or before the mall, or after the mall?
What was he like as a baby? As a little one?
oh, perfect in
I'm
every
sure
way,
he
right?
says he
Yeah,
was a saint.
sure.
Okay, let me call that school and I can get directions. Kennesaw Charter School on Cobb Parkway.
I would fight with
Okay,
Mike's
well, we
son.
may be there. Okay.
And Megan, we picked on Megan,
Okay.
unfortunately. We used to pick on her all the time.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember
Okay,
one time
maybe
getting
we
really mad
come,
at her,
Okay.
picking her up and throwing her through a glass door.
Maybe.
And she was maybe 6 years old, something like that.
She was wiry.
I wasn't trying to, it
She
just
was
happened.
wiry. She used to swing in Marquette. We had a
Yeah.
He's a little bit better. Maybe we can
You
do
guys
that because we're
tried to
going
pull
out
her
that
off the
way
swing,
to eat,
couldn't
out
do
on
it.
Barrett Parkway.
She was
You know?
she was wiry, very wiry.
Yeah. I got a couple pictures here, Meg. I'll show you. Here, let me, in fact,
Okay, go Barrett Parkway,
I'll
blah,
show you.
blah,
I've
blah,
got some pictures
and
of Meg.
turn the north